Hello everybody, my name is John. I am Sukie's fiance. The last hour and a half or so we've been trying to do a video about how Marfan Syndrome affects me in my daily life being her partner and her carer. And she was going to interview me with questions. But the thing is every time we've done the video, we've either accidentally covered the microphone up, which I think I was doing just then, so I've moved my hand, or the memory ran out. So I've taken it upon myself to just quickly give you a run by of it. The first question she was asking me was about how she told me and what I thought about Marfan syndrome when I first discovered it. Well, told about it. And my answer to that is quite simple. I couldn't pronounce it, and it took me at least 2 weeks, 2 months even, to get my head around it. And even today I'm still learning. And it was like, because I have mental health disabilities and a few physical disabilities, when she told me, I have something to tell you, I have a disability, I knew it was quite hard for her to tell me because she was worried that I was going to run for the hills. But when she told me, I was like, what? What the hell is that? And so she started to educate me. The second question she asked is like, how does it affect me during my life, like every day? So my answer to that is that, it doesn't really affect me that much depending on how she is. If she's having a bad day, like it's, the symptoms are bad for her, then I have to take on an extra load of work, which I don't mind doing because, I'm doing it. But she's quite an independent person. So she usually just fights through the pain and all the chronic fatigue and everything all by herself, which makes me very proud of her. But I can help where I can help, which is by doing videos like this. She then asks me how does her fatigue affect me when we go shopping and go to places such as doctors and appointments and stuff for a condition. Well, I have to be on alert. I have to be aware of the information I need to give at any given point in time, which I'm not very good at recalling information. So I find that quite difficult, but it's been drummed into me enough so that I'm able to do it. So when we are at a doctor's appointment and the doctors are talking to her about what pain she's in and stuff like that, I have to fill in the blanks sometimes. I mean, I've got it quite well here, quite lucky, because she hasn't got it as bad as some of the people with Marfan's. And then again, she's got it a lot worse than some of them as well, so she's in the middle there. And because it's such a rare condition, not many doctors really understand about it. So getting the appointments is quite stressful on me because I don't like it when people that are in an authoritative position don't have the power or the mentality to do what is right. Somebody comes in and saying, I need this, I need that, because of this condition. The doctor doesn't know the condition, so the doctor doesn't give, which is detrimental to her health. Which led her to ask me about when she had heart surgery, how I felt about her heart surgery and how it affected me. It stressed me out and I was terrified she was going to die. I thought that was it. Every day was going to be the last day I was ever going to see her. And this made me very ill. It made me very anxious and I started having breakdowns and coughing fits and stuff. And I went to the doctors to get it sorted because I didn't want to let her down. I mean, many times I called her in tears because I couldn't go and see her. And I would be on the phone for 2, maybe 3 hours, crying down the phone, apologising why I'm not there. And all the time I knew that that was making her more stressed, which made me feel worse. So, I tried my best not to go down that route. But when she was recovering and came back home, I was in overdrive. I've got to get everything done. I've got to make sure everything's right. Yeah, it's shaking because I'm talking so loud. Sorry. But it was very tricky for me. She also said about in summer she goes out showing her scars about and we get funny looks from people about how that made me feel. Well, personally, I dislike it when people are like, oh, look at that person, she's got a scar. Yeah, so? Fuck you, mind your own business. You know? She's showing her scar. It's braver than what you're doing. I mean, fuck, you're showing your face. You know, put a bag over it. But I can't do that because that's impolite and rude and insensitive. So I just, you know, bite my tongue, put it in a treat, and just carry on, you know, because people are curious and they don't know how to react when they see something like that. There's a lot of people out there with disfigurements that get judged all the time. I mean, I'm no pretty picture. I used to have long hair. It's been cut short, as you clearly see. Captain Obvious. So people look at me like, oh my god, that's a guy with long hair. He must be some kind of delinquent freak. They don't know about me, man. So, you know, I can't judge people because I don't want them to judge me. I shouldn't judge them. She also went on to ask about like how it's affected me personally and like how I view the effects on me. Well, it's made me smarter, it's made me wiser, it's made me more aware, it's made me more considerate. It's kind of given me a purpose in life because I don't do anything really important. Because I'm a carer, I'm not employed, so yeah, I am kind of sponging off the government, which I don't like that. I like to pay my way, but because they've said I've got to look out for her, I've got to look after her because of her condition, that's what I'm doing. I think it's quite interesting because when people like in the street come up to you, hey, have you heard about charity for blind children, charity for deaf children? I say, yeah, I've heard about you, talk to them about that thing, and then I pitch to them about the Marfan Trust, the Marfan Foundation and stuff with Marfan Syndrome, and half the time they're like, well, I've never heard of this. And because they're charitable souls, they end up looking it up, and some days I'll be walking down the street a few weeks later, the same person will stop me and say, I looked that thing up about Marfan, that was really interesting, it's quite impressive what she has to go through. And they've actually like tried to get a job with them to help raise awareness and stuff. Things that I do for Sukie on a regular basis, like the things I have to do for her, is like sometimes I have to help her with her shoes and some of her clothes, but I don't have to dress her or anything. You know, I have to lift the heavy objects for her, I have to do menial housework like anybody does, so, you know, that's no real sweat off my back. But I have to be extra careful when going about town and making sure people don't bump into her and stuff. Which in its own way isn't really that much of a job, but because people are generally ignorant, they'll bump into you and it's your fault. That kind of stresses me out. I just want to tell those people to go take a long walk of a short pier, if you get my drift. So that's basically my outlook on it. I mean, when me and Sukie, we've faced many battles together as a couple. We've been together 9, maybe 10 years. It's been a long time, and we've seen rough patches. I mean, at one point, me and Sukie were both homeless, and the housing agencies didn't want to help us because they didn't believe that Marfan Syndrome existed. So with little money that we had to print out information from a library to hand it in to the people at the desk, who then actually accused us of making the website up. Yeah. And if you see that I keep looking down, that's because the camera is at the top of the device I'm using, and the screen is at the bottom, and I can't see the screen whilst looking at the camera because I'm focusing on it. So I keep looking down, then I notice that I'm looking down, which looks really weird, like a serial killer. I'm going to get you. Yeah. But yeah. So the reason I'm doing this video, and Sukie wanted to ask the questions, but the video was just playing us around, and I kept getting sidetracked, was so that during February, when we're raising awareness for Marfan, it's not just about the people with Marfans, it's those around it. Because, like I said in one of the other videos, is that it's like a pebble being thrown into the ocean. It creates ripples. People always watch a stone skimming across a pond. They don't watch what the ripples do. And that's what Marfan is. It's the ripples underneath the stone. So if you know anybody with Marfan Syndrome or care for Marfan Syndrome, or even yourself have it, please tell your stories throughout February and interview your loved ones and partners and friends about how it affects them. Because as much as the people of Marfan have learned about themselves, it would be nice for them to learn about us, the carers, the doctors, the nurses, the relatives, the friends. Because when you have a condition like Marfan Syndrome, it doesn't just affect the patient, it affects everybody around them. So, please, share your stories and let everybody know that Marfan Syndrome is not just another disability. It is a lifestyle. It is a disease. It is a burden on people, just like any other situation of crisis. When you look at the world, there is always a cause and an effect. If it wasn't for Sukie, I don't know where I would be in my life right now. I don't do anything important, like I said, so she gives me purpose and direction. And because she raises awareness for Marfan, I can be part of that, and I can tell you my story about how it has affected me, and about how my life is entwined with hers. And it will go to show to many people out there that you don't need to be scared of what you don't understand. You just need to learn to accept it. And if it is that scary for you to understand what Marfan is, then learn about it. Tell your story. Tell your loved ones that it scares you. Because the better they understand us, the better we can understand them. So thank you for your time. Please share this video, and I look forward to seeing your videos. Both from me and Sukie, thank you very much for your time.